They're politically weaponizing it for an election purpose.
Illegal immigrants over kids. A incredibly woke song. Holy cow! What happened to the music? Oh my gosh, we're scatterbrained here. Still trying to figure this out. But illegal immigrants are prioritized over kids, identity politics, the song, and the musical coming to a theater near you. Impeachment, is it a good idea? Also, the DNC, quote-unquote, defending democracy by only allowing Joe Biden to be on the ballot. All that and more coming to you. My name is Joe Bob. We are live in the dingy bunker. Still trying to figure out this whole new setup. We're using a new software. I know that you probably don't care about that specifically, but you know, that's what we're doing. So well, not even before. Let's just get straight into it. This is a story that I'm sure you've probably heard of by now. It has been on every cable news outlet and media thing anywhere at any point. Illegals over your kids. A high school in New York City, in Brooklyn, has been closed, and the kids are going to do distance learning, which is not learning at all, so that illegal immigrants can stay in the high school. Yeah, I know, it's a little bit nuts. The details are still kind of like, I don't want to say fuzzy, but it's difficult to kind of assess what's going on here with this stuff, especially as it's happening. But approximately 2,000 illegal immigrants from the Floyd Bennett Field in New York will temporarily be relocated, and I use quotes because the only thing more permanent than a temporary government program is nothing. Will temporarily be relocated to James Madison High School. The school will be shut down to students, and they will attend virtual classes. The idea that we're going to collectively as a country prioritize illegal immigrants over our own students is insane, but such are lefty policies that have governed the border and therefore New York City. City officials say that evacuating nearly 2,000 illegal immigrants, the New York Post article says migrants, but I say illegal immigrants, because I think that's still the legal term. I'm pretty sure. Maybe the Biden administration changed the legal term, but illegal immigrants. Actually, no, I think the legal term is illegal alien. So there's that. City officials are evacuating nearly 2,000 illegal immigrants from a controversial city shelter at Brooklyn's Floyd Bennett Field over safety concerns amid an incoming storm and jamming them into a second-floor high school gym. And therefore, they are closing the school to students, again, pushing them to do, quote-unquote, virtual learning. I'm going to play you some B-roll here as we kind of discuss. But this is from last night, a bunch of the, again, illegal immigrants getting off of school buses going into the schools. A City Hall spokesperson said, to be clear, this relocation is a proactive measure being taken out of abundance of caution to ensure the safety and well-being of individuals working and living at the center. Now, here's the thing. I get that. Nobody wants illegals to, or anybody really, to suffer and die in the cold spell that is hitting New York. But at the same time, the thing that we should be criticizing is the thing that we've been criticizing the entire time. The problem is the fact that you have to deal with this in the first place. If you are, I don't know, suffering from a dread disease caused by, let's just say, smoking, for example. If you smoked for 50 years and now all of a sudden you have lung cancer, yes, it is sad that you have that terrible disease. And also, the problem should have been fixed way before it escalated to this point. We shouldn't have to be in the situation where we are sending U.S. kids home to not learn, because remember, we all learned that distance learning isn't learning at all, and the education lost is massive. We all learned that that doesn't work, and therefore, it's completely useless, but yet they're still doing it in order to prioritize people who came into the country illegally in my opinion. Seeking asylum with just bunk claims of asylum, in my opinion, is definitely illegal. But this is such is the American process nowadays. Now, here is something. I'll cut the B-roll here for you, just because I want to get to this, because I think this is important. All of the people that are proponents of illegal immigration, anyone can come here, we are so welcoming, are also huge proponents of making sure that kids in schools that are not doing great get that leg up. And a lot of the statistics they use to tie to kids in schools are minority statistics. What are the demographics of that school? And if the school is full of minority students, we should prioritize those schools. I'm not saying that. That's what these people say. There is a consistency between the people who want to let everybody into the country and we need to prioritize black and brown students because they are minorities and they're not doing as well. Which, statistically speaking, you can make a case for, but that's not what we're talking about here right now. But at the same time, the school that's being at the same time, the school that is sending kids home to not learn through virtual classes is 53% minority enrollment. So the same people that say, well, we need anybody can come into the country, and we have to prioritize minority majority schools, I guess. The people that are making those two arguments are causing problems with their own two arguments. In other words, all of the illegal immigrants coming into the country are putting a majority minority school at a huge deficit. Not only that, 73% of the students at James Madison High School would qualify as being economically disadvantaged. So, the lefty policies that are allowing a flood of illegal immigration to come into the schools are effectively now, coming into the country, are effectively now hurting students who they also claim to be ardent advocates for. Again, those numbers are 53% of the students at the James Madison High School that are being sent home to prioritize illegal immigrants are minorities, 53%, and 73% of those students are considered economically disadvantaged. So the very people that a bunch of your lefties claim to help are being pushed out of school in place of illegal immigrants. So there's that. I wonder what the conversation with the parents were. The kids saying, hey, we don't have school tomorrow. The parents, is it a snow day? Is there too much snow? Well, there's too much of something. It's not snow, though. But again, the idea of prioritizing illegal immigrants over American students is insane. But such is the situation that we've put ourselves in. Moving on to this, I think this is interesting. The defenders of democracy. Who is defending democracy in today's day and age? I thought this was really interesting. Let me make sure I can pull this article up. Still getting used to this whole system here. The defenders of democracy, the Democratic Party of America, not only taking their opponents off ballots and arresting them, but ensuring that the one candidate that they want is the only one that is on the ballots. Yes, in addition to taking Donald Trump off the ballots in Colorado and Maine and attempting it in several other places, they are also ensuring that Joe Biden, the decrepit 81-year-old president of the United States, is the only Democrat that appears on ballots in certain states. Defending democracy. It's democracy if we tell you it's democracy, but not if we do things that are anti-democracy. This is from ABC News. Not only are many of President Joe Biden's most high-profile Democratic challengers having difficulty making a dent in the national polling, but they're also running into a snafu in their efforts to get on the ballot in the first place. Representative Dean Phillips, author Marianne Williamson, and progressive commentator Cenk Uygur have encountered roadblocks when trying to get onto the ballot. Just get onto the ballot. Specifically in states like Florida, Tennessee, North Carolina, Massachusetts. In other words, the party that is so just defending, we love democracy, not only is kicking their opponent off the ballot, arresting several of their political opponents, and putting them in front of Trump. By the way, Trump is in court twice this week. He was in court yesterday, and I think will be in court either today or tomorrow on two different things, literally the same week of the Iowa caucus. Holy cow. And we're supposed to believe that this is not political, which is, again, you know, I don't know how you get people to buy into that. Anyways, outside of arresting and taking your opponent off the ballot, they're also defending democracy by not allowing their constituents to vote for anyone else besides the person that they want. You know, what's the old adage? Accuse your opponents of that which you are doing. I've never seen a better example of that than this. Democrats, lefties in general, saying the right or conservatives or the Republicans are trying to destroy democracy. If we elect Donald Trump, democracy will be lost. While at the same time doing all of the things that banana republics without democracy do. And I don't know if it's a strategy to just keep accusing the other side of a thing that they're doing, or if it's total ineptitude. I genuinely don't know. I know for a fact there are people in my own life that have said things or posted things that make me understand, oh my gosh, you don't get it. And this is not really even, I'm not defending Donald Trump at all at this point. It's just like a, holy cow, this, if you were looking at this as objectively as possible, as, let's just, for example, Alan Dershowitz is, lifelong Democrat, voted for and worked with Obama, will vote for Joe Biden in the upcoming election, saying, hey, the whole Trump indictment stuff is a bunch of crap and looks like a political persecution. Sorry, prosecution, but also persecution works too. If you have an objective view of all of this stuff, it's difficult to look at the situation and go, yes, this makes sense outside of just a political prosecution. And on top of that, the people parroting the idea of, well, it's the Republicans and the right that are destroying democracy. Okay, but on the Republican ticket, outside of Democrats taking Trump off the ballot, anybody who wants to be on the ballot is on the ballot. I would guarantee you that the majority of Republicans, by a lot, do not want Chris Christie on the ballot. There's no reason that Chris Christie should be on the ballot. The RNC doesn't want him on the ballot. The big major donors don't want him on the ballot. Even your never-Trumpers don't want Chris Christie on the ballot, and yet he is. So when it comes to democracy and who is allowing constituents to have their say in said democracy, which side is not letting that happen? Again, it would be great if we could take some of the people off of the ballot who are on the ballot, but that wouldn't be democracy. And there's only one party that is doing that and therefore trying to destroy said democracy. But I don't know. What do you do with that, considering how ironic it is? I don't know. We'll see how this shakes out. The Iowa caucus is Monday, and it is set to be, not set to be, the weather forecast for Iowa says it will be 2 degrees. And there's a bunch of punditry talking about who that benefits, who it doesn't. But I don't know how that doesn't benefit Trump not that he needed any benefit to begin with. I don't think there are just fervent Nikki Haley or Ron DeSantis or Chris Christie supporters saying, I'm going to risk my life. Not actually. I know you Iowans can weather the storm and have done it before, but I don't think there's many people saying I'm going to risk frostbite, losing a couple fingers to go caucus for Ron DeSantis. Like, no, if anybody is excited and energized to go out and weather the 2-degree weather in Iowa, it's probably Trump supporters. So, I don't know. And he, again, is in a courtroom twice this week ahead of the Iowa caucus. So there's that. That'll shake out and be whatever it ends up being. While we move on to this, I think this is fascinating and interesting on so many different levels, especially considering the verbiage around it. If you live in Oakland, you have a 1 in 30 chance of your car getting stolen. Those are not good odds. Vehicle thefts have been rising dramatically, making residents' lives difficult across the Bay Area. The problem is acute in Oakland, where nearly 15,000 cars were reported stolen last year. I'm reading from the San Francisco Chronicle, not a right-wing newspaper by any stretch of the imagination. So if they're reporting crime, you know that it's true. 15,000 cars stolen last year. I hate to laugh at this, but this is like, I don't even know how that happens. 1 in 30, your chances are of your car getting stolen. The highest number in the city. Oh, this is the highest number in the city in at least 15 years. 45% higher than 2022. So a 45% jump in car thefts in one city in 1 year, according to the police department and state data. Uptown and North Oakland faces the biggest spike with 69% increase in car thefts. Holy cow. Factoring in the population, the theft rate was equivalent to roughly 1 in 30 cars stolen for people living in the city. That is an insane number. And I think what's also interesting is this in the article. The same article, you scroll down a little bit, where they give a couple reasons as to why car theft is out of control. Why is car theft out of control in Oakland? Let me know in the comment section what you think, because I would imagine that you probably have some pretty good insight as to why car theft is what it is. But before we get into what this article will tell you, I will tell you that it's likely because nobody prosecutes crime there anymore. They have a huge effort to recall not only the mayor, but I think also the DA, which is a Soros-backed DA, I forget her name, there in Oakland, who doesn't prosecute crime. The police are frustrated. They're also facing big budget cuts. Nobody wants to be a cop in Oakland. So those are a lot of the reasons as to why car theft is rampant. But what does the San Francisco Chronicle say? Oakland experienced a 21% increase in violent crime, murders, assault, yada, 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 yada. Oh, shoot. I read the wrong paragraph. What does the San Francisco Chronicle say? The reasons that car thefts are rising in the Bay Area and nationwide are a myriad, experts say. Chief among them, the chief aspect as to why car thefts are going up in Oakland are the lack of basic anti-theft technology in popular Kia and Hyundai models. Why is theft going up? Why is car theft going up in Oakland? Well, in the more popular Kia and Hyundai models, there are a lack of anti-theft components caused by the manufacturers who want cars to get stolen. No, no. It's not because the DA doesn't prosecute. It's not because the police are having to go to other violent crimes across the city. It's not because the police are diminished and there are a lack of cops on the street. It's not because there are no rules anymore up in the Bay Area. None of those things are the reason why. The reason why there's car theft in Oakland is because of the lack of anti-theft technology in Hyundais and Kias specifically. Holy cow. Then the paragraph finishes off by saying, compounded by a social media challenge to boost those cars. Okay. I don't know. I don't know what to do with this. I want you to watch this quick video of what I think is interesting, especially considering Oakland and the demographics in Oakland. This is a news clip of the brand new effort to recall the mayor in Oakland, and I want you to watch who is heading it up. Check this out. Maybe not. Hold on. Let me. Here we go. Check this out.
Signed, sealed, and soon to be delivered, the recall of Oakland Mayor Sheng Tao is officially underway.
There are too many lives that have been lost. Too many cars stolen. Too many people who've been robbed coming from a bank, followed home. Too many things. Too many businesses have closed. This mayor has blood on her hands.
Retired Alameda County Superior Court Judge Brenda Harbin Forte is leading the recall campaign. The letter of intent was sent certified mail to Mayor Tao on Saturday. The letter states, "You lack the competency, credibility, judgment, and the ability to lead what was once a great American city." The letter says grounds for the recall include creating a public safety crisis by systematically dismantling the Oakland Police Department.
Here's my question, and this may be a little bit spicy, but where's Black Lives Matter in that? You have a black woman, former judge, saying, hey, my city is not safe. Shouldn't the Black Lives Matter movement be endorsing that? Considering, again, it's brought forward. I don't care of the demographics of people. I've made that clear so many times. But if lefties are going to care about that sort of thing, shouldn't they care in this particular instance as well? Maybe not. What do I know? But that's that. Oakland car theft is through the roof. If you go to Oakland, do not leave your car. You're probably better off driving to, I don't know, Elk Grove, somewhere far enough out of the reaches of Oakland, parking your car there, and Ubering or BARTing in. I don't know if BART goes to Elk Grove, but I'm not as familiar with the Oakland area, so sorry. But yeah, don't park your car in Oakland. Bottom line is it probably will get stolen. Which is I feel like a sign of the times, maybe even more, which brings me to this. I think this is interesting. I have said on this show a number of times that I don't think Republicans impeaching Joe Biden is a good idea over what they're impeaching him for. Right now, there's a congressional House effort to impeach the president over his dealings with Hunter. Now, there's some issues with that. One, I think it's pretty clear and evident what Joe Biden did with Hunter. The problem is Democrats are pointing out the fact that, well, there's no smoking gun. Now, if I were to argue against that point, I would say, what do you think is going to happen? What do you think they're going to find? Do you think they're going to find a text message with Joe Biden saying to Hunter, hey, I changed this law, make sure the Chinese Communist Party that you're doing business with sends us the money for changing this law? You're not going to find that. The circumstantial evidence is overwhelming that Joe Biden was participating in and benefited from Hunter Biden's nefarious activities around the world. But they're also not dumb people, and they know what they were doing, and therefore you're not going to find the explicit message or explicit email or explicit voicemail that Joe Biden says, all right, I did the thing, make sure that they pay you the money. It's just not going to happen. And so because of that, Democrats have a tiny bit of an out, or at least an ability to convince their constituents that this is all just a big witch hunt. So for that reason, and because I think the Biden administration is imploding on its own, I don't think Republicans are doing themselves any good by impeaching him for that. Now, I do think they should impeach Joe Biden on what's happening on the border. I do think they have the ability to impeach Joe Biden retroactively for how he handled the exit from Afghanistan. I do think there are a ton of different reasons why legitimately I think Congress has an opportunity to impeach Joe Biden. But the problem is that we're coming up on an election year. And in an election year, it's all about generally energizing your side to go to the polls. And if it looks like Republicans are doing the same thing to Joe Biden that Democrats are doing to Trump, which has galvanized the Republican Party, I don't think it's a great idea for Republicans to impeach him on something that the American people kind of know about, but isn't the thing to impeach him on. Again, if they wanted to impeach him on the border crisis, I think, is the most important issue to every single voter, Republican, Democrat, across the country. So if you're going to impeach him on something, impeach him on that. But the whole Hunter thing is going to come out regardless of whether or not you make him look like the good guy to his own people, if that makes sense. So I've been anti-impeachment on this particular issue for a long time. That being said, I think it is very interesting some of the commentary from a lot of your, we're going to play an AOC clip again. I know I get comments every single time we play AOC clips. But considering how the tables have turned this particular time, I want you to watch this clip because I think it's hilarious. This is AOC, I forget which show this is on. But this is AOC talking about the current impeachment, which again, I don't think is a good idea, but it is happening and people are commenting on it, so here we go. Watch this.
What they're using and what they're doing is taking impeachment and taking all of the most serious procedures that we have as a country, and they're learning to use it for they're politically weaponizing it for an election purpose, for a political purpose, and in doing so, they are putting the people of this country, everyday Americans, absolutely at the bottom of the barrel, and they're putting themselves first. It's a selfishness that really endangers this country. It endangers our electoral process. It endangers our legal process. It's deeply cynical, and it's done to reelect themselves and line their own pockets.
I don't know what to do with that. Like what is that? Like she has to know. Right? Right? She has to know. Because, and again, I don't need to remind everybody, but the first impeachment of Trump was literally that was what she was just describing. They're weaponizing the impeachment process, and it's not good for the American people because they're going to devalue what impeachment means and It's literally what they did. And she knows it. She has to know it. That's my problem here. It's not the acting job that apparently our Congress people have to do. Apparently they're just actors because they're not saying any true things, which means they know they're lying. And if they know they're lying, what they're trying to do is put on a front where you believe the lie. But that, she's got to know. She's got to know how ironic that is. Also, it deserves mentioning that the second time Trump got impeached, Democrats could have eliminated him from political contention ever again. They could have. After January 6th, 2021, Democrats, Nancy Pelosi specifically, could have put up a vague dereliction of duty charge, impeached him for that, and there would have been enough votes at the time, right after the Capitol riots, to impeach him in the Senate. There just would have. Whether you like that outcome or not, that could have happened. But instead, Nancy Pelosi decided to impeach Donald Trump and charge him with something so specific it was extremely difficult for Democrats to get Republican senators on board to actually remove him from office and bar him from running for office ever again. What I mean to say is that Nancy Pelosi and the entire lefty side of the aisle, Democrat side of the aisle, could have done the thing that they claim to have wanted to do, which is remove Donald Trump from politics entirely, but they didn't. Why? Because they want the opposition. They want the looming threat of Donald Trump out there, which has become a realized threat if you're a Democrat, to where Donald Trump is going to be the nominee, and in all likelihood, if Joe Biden stays on the ballot, he will win the election. But that was the thing that you said was the most terrifying thing, and yet, when you had the opportunity to eliminate this so-called threat, you didn't do it. That kind of got off on a wild impeachment tangent, but interesting. I don't know. We'll see how this whole impeachment thing shakes out. Again, I don't necessarily know how this is going to unfold for Republicans, but I don't know that it's the best idea for them to spend time and energy on something that the American people, if they want to know, already know, and just galvanize the other side. I don't know if it makes sense. Anyways, we'll move on to this before we wrap things up. This is, I don't know what to do with this. I have often mentioned that satire is so difficult to pull off in the modern age because of how ridiculous things have gotten. I'm going to play you a video clip of a choir singing a song that would make it difficult for the Babylon Bee to parody. Again, this is a choir singing a real song written by Stacey Abrams, I think, that makes the job of satire and parody extremely difficult. Good luck, Babylon Bee, trying to figure this one out. I'm going to read some of the lines because it's a little bit difficult to understand, especially if you're just listening on the podcast version. But I'll read some of these as we go through, and holy moly, watch this. I don't. That's genuinely funny. If you're just listening, you probably didn't understand a lot of that. If you're watching this, hopefully you were able to read the little subtitles there. Every single line of that was wrong. Actually, wait, no, there was one. It was like, our rights depend on whether or not we are criminalized by the justice system. Correct. Yes, if you have been found guilty of a crime and are incarcerated, clearly you have limited rights there. That's correct. Other than that, our rights depend on whether or not our IDs match our gender? No. Our rights depend whether we can afford an ID, a free government ID. Yes, whether or not you can afford a government ID, which is usually free in so many places, that your rights depend on that. Now, I get what they're saying is, well, if you don't have the right to vote, okay, well, let me throw that on its head. If somebody without an ID votes, that eliminates my right to participate in a system that I consider just. How about we throw that argument out there of if people are voting who are not allowed to vote, and there's no way of knowing whether or not they can vote or can't vote because we don't check to see if they're eligible to vote, that eliminates my right as a citizen of this country to participate in what I believe is a fair and just democracy. What else did they say there? This is the battle for democracy by eliminating democracy. They didn't say that, but they might as well have said it. You have to wait in lines to vote. Just for the record, in all of the states that people, Democrats specifically, claim to have massive lines, there are laws that say that it's illegal for the line to be as long as it is, and they will call in reinforcements if that line is too long. I think specifically in Georgia, if you have a long line, you're legally required to cut the line down by adding more, opening more stations, doing something. And if not, I think the county that's running that particular election gets punished in some way, shape, or form. I don't have the specifics in front of me. I was watching that for the first time, too, so that's just so you know. I hadn't actually seen the full clip before. I think I watched the first couple seconds. It was like, yeah, this needs to go in. Also, how about all of them wearing masks? I don't know. And the problem with that is, right, I can understand and be cynical about people on cable news and Congress people talking about the various things going on that are not going on and making their case and bending the truth in order to promote their side. I get that. Because they know what they're doing. I think a lot of these people in this choir actually think that what they're saying is true. I mean, I guess the broadest baseline overview is that none of those things are true because they're legally not allowed to be true. Everybody in this country has the same rights unless you violate the social contract, which is the law, and therefore some of your rights are, in most cases, temporarily removed. Seems to be a pretty good system, but nevertheless, it won't stop Stacey Abrams, who, by the way, election denier Stacey Abrams, talking about defending democracy, I still don't think she's conceded the 2018 Georgia governor's election. I think she still thinks she's still making the claim that she won. And yet, for some reason, when the Trump campaign and Republicans are questioning the results, which, by the way, you're allowed to do, that's the whole point of a republic or a democracy. You're allowed to be like, hey, are you sure about that? And of course, yeah, obviously, if all of your appeals have been denied, I guess, then yeah, you probably should go along with things. I'm not saying that you should continue making that case like Stacey Abrams has. But yeah, you're allowed to appeal the process, or at least the outcome. But Stacey Abrams has done all of that for, what, 6 years now and still hasn't conceded? Anyways. Well, you know what? That'll do it for us today. Appreciate you sticking around, tuning in, especially continuing to bear with the process here as it continues to evolve and take shape. If you haven't already, give me a follow on any of your social media platforms. Just type in JOBOB pretty much anywhere. You'll be able to find me. There's also, let's see, I think we're streaming a lot of different places still. So depending on where you watch this, go ahead and click the little like button or the little share button or the little thumbs up button or any of the buttons that you're supposed to click, and I appreciate you doing so. But that'll do it for us today. See you tomorrow. Didn't coordinate the whole outro music thing. Actually, you know what? Let me see if I can. Nah, that'd be too difficult. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place.